And you have to love yourself enough, love yourself more than you love like a guy and stuff. Hi, I'm Miami and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is basically just the thin line between being a nice person or like a nice girl and being like a doormat, being too nice. So I know I've mentioned in several other videos about how women, I guess, are more socialized and conditioned to just be nicer, maybe more polite, more accommodating, more respectful, which, like, in short, they're taught to be more obedient, like to just obey people, which, I mean, if you have a good God-fearing husband, that's yes, but we're taught to do that regardless. Even like, and I know they say like use discernment, but we're the first ones getting called names when we aren't compliant to people who we should not be complying to. Like saying no, I feel like girls feel more guilt for saying no than men do sometimes, and I could be wrong. I'm talking about just what I've seen and heard from both sides. Like there's men who are like, you know, like they're just more strict and less lenient, I guess. But so let me just put this into perspective, why I'm like what this video is coming to with the story time. So I'm gonna use names. J is a name, M is a name, and then Sarah is a name. I think that works. So I had a friend named Sarah and she was dating this guy named Jay at the time. And Jay had this ex named M who he was absolutely obsessed with. I mean, like every time she called me to talk about this guy, it was about a story time he gave of his ex, which I just think is really weird when a man is telling you stories about his ex. That's how you know you're being too nice and accommodating, when a man feels comfortable telling you about his ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, the mom of his kids, whatever. I feel like you're too accommodating when a man feels comfortable telling you stories about another woman, especially one that he's slept with or been involved with. Like, okay. But basically, when Sarah started dating Jay had been broken up with M for maybe 4 or 5 months. Like it wasn't a super long time. But when Jay and M were together, they were doing well until Jay got a text message from a woman he had previously had a one-night stand with a little bit before he met M. This woman told Jay that she was pregnant with his baby. And so M left. Like, I think she stayed maybe like a month from what he was telling my friend. I don't know, because I don't know. I'm not even sure if he even told Sarah what time he left the girl, but he said she like stuck around for like a few weeks. So I'm assuming like a month, probably, like not that long. But she just kept saying she couldn't do it. She couldn't date a guy that had a kid. And I was like, I respect that, because you don't have no kids. Like, also she was so young. She was like 18, 19, and this dude was like 22. So I was like, yeah, no. Being a stepmom at 19 sounds crazy. I feel like I'd be a stepmom if I had my own kids. I feel like I hold people to like a standard that I'm at. If I'm a girl with no kids, not doing that kind of stuff, I'm not dating a guy with kids. Like I just don't want to do it. Like I just feel like there's not much you can offer me if you've already given somebody children. Like I just wouldn't want to be a part of that. Like, I'm like, no. As soon as I have kids, let's say I get married, I have kids, and the marriage ends or something, then yes, I would consider a man with kids because I have children. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But that's the same mindset that M had, is I don't have any kids and I don't want to be, you know, part of that, because I feel like if your first kid isn't my first kid, then what are we doing here? And I feel the same way. Like, and that may be stupid to some people. I don't really care. Same way there's men who have kids who won't date girls that have kids. I'm saying as a woman who has no kids, I wouldn't date a man that had kids. I just don't think that makes any sense. But she left him. And my friend Sarah, he basically, by the time that my friend Sarah and him met, the baby had been born maybe like 2 weeks before they started dating. So this baby was a new, fresh born, out the womb baby. And my friend Sarah was trying to be this nice girl that was super accommodating, so she chose to stay with him despite the fact that he may have had a baby. She even waited for him to get the DNA test, which ended up coming back negative. And do you know what she said that he said to her after it came back? If only this happened earlier. He was, I'm assuming, and I probably, you guys are too, he was referring to his ex. He wished he had gotten the negative DNA test when he was still with his ex. Imagine you stay with a guy despite the fact that he has kids, which is out of your standards. You lower your standards for a man, and he's still thinking about the woman who would not do it. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like they value women who respect themselves more. Like they may say that they hate you for leaving them, but I feel like they resent you more if you stay with them when they're not at their best, like when they have a baby on the way from being reckless and stupid and having a one-night stand. But she stayed with him for 4 or 5 months while he was trying to figure that out. And do you know what he did as soon as it was? He started dating somebody else while they were still dating. And I actually found this out later. She still doesn't know, because I'm not gonna, I just feel like that would, maybe I'll tell her later, but when she's healed from it, I'll tell her. But when she was, you know, going through that, I think I found out maybe 2 weeks after he ghosted her for no reason, I saw him with someone else, and this girl, I knew her. So, and she was talking about how they've been dating for like a few weeks. And I was like, how are y'all dating for a few weeks if he was dating my friend 2 weeks ago? And how long is a few weeks? 1.2 weeks? I think it was like 3 or 4. I was like, oh, interesting. But all that to say, stop being the super nice girl. Sarah was extremely nice by staying with him, despite the fact he was clearly irresponsible and reckless and had no control over his lust or his body. You do not owe somebody patience and understanding in situations he would not give it to you. I promise you, if you go and you tell a man that you're pregnant from a one night stand you had a few weeks prior to y'all meeting, most of the men are gonna leave you where you're at. They're gonna be like, yeah, and they're finna get on. They're finna get the on. They're not finna sit there and deal with that. And I don't think you should either. If you're a young woman, even if you aren't young, if you're an older lady who either has been married or who has no kids, and you find a guy who's reckless, like he has kids by multiple women, he has kids that he has never been married to their mother, you don't have to date him. Don't let him try to tell you, well, you're older now, so you should just settle down with me. Because if that's the case, I should have made the same choices you did in the past, and then I'd settle for you, because I'm on the same level as you are. But if you are a woman, and more importantly, if you are a woman of God who in the past, or even like you've been holding yourself to a higher standard for a very long time, even if you didn't start out perfect, because no one did. Like, some people have to go back and do it again. Some people have to go back and decide they're now going to wait till marriage, that they're going to do this and that. Some people have to get it right. If you're a woman who changed their standards, or who for the most part has had high standards and carried herself in a certain way, you should continue to have high standards. You don't owe somebody, oh, well, you should settle all because you're in your 30s now. So because I'm 30, I gotta settle for somebody who spent their 20s doing the wrong thing, but I spent my 20s doing the right thing. No, you don't. That sounds really dumb. But I kept telling Sarah, I was like, I personally would break up with him. And she was saying, oh, he was like down on his luck. And I said, it's always the people that, like, it's always the like dudes that are down on their luck that end up doing you the worst when you're sitting with them. Mind you, this is a baby from a one night stand, meaning he's capable of sleeping with somebody he just met. Those are the same men that are capable of cheating on you, because that's kind of what it is. Most times is you starting up a relationship with somebody you just met, regardless of the standards. But he kept saying to her, because I remember she was showing me their like texts and all that stuff. He kept saying to her he didn't cheat on his ex, and he promises that. Why do you feel the need to randomly say that unless you're guilty and you're trying to cover something up? Anyways, I never got the answer on that because I stopped caring. And I hope Sarah stopped caring too, because it doesn't really matter. But she was just extremely nice. I remember one night she called me because he had called her on the phone and like said he had something to do real quick. He was gonna call her back and never called her back. And she continued talking to him that next day. And I was like, maybe I'm just evil, but I've actually had that happen to me where a dude said he would call me back and didn't, and I blocked him. And I never talked to him again. In fact, I have no idea what happened after that because I blocked him on everything. And that may seem harsh, but I don't doubt while he was over there saying he had something to do, he was talking to someone else. Just based on the nature of who he had been in the past, in their relationship, and after their relationship. I don't doubt that him having something to do was him talking to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's kind of just weird that you guys are on the phone having a conversation that he initiated, or that he started like over text, and then he ends the call out of nowhere, probably because the person he wanted to text, hence why he was being so weird and dry, didn't really want to text them or call him till that moment. You're nobody's second choice. You just aren't. And a lot of nice girls will settle for being someone's second choice, and whole time that man's your first choice. You're always giving him more, you always like him more, you're always like, you're his second choice, baby. Like, and it's not always apparent at first, but it becomes apparent slowly. I remember she said he would text her, but she almost always had to initiate calls or anything, because he kept saying, oh, he didn't really do calls. But he had these girl best friends he was always on the phone with, and I was like, he doesn't do calls with you. He does calls, just not with you. And it's actually a harsh reality, especially like when you like somebody, the reality of that they genuinely don't like you, even though, and this is my thing. This is my thing that I think a lot of people need to get through their heads. No one owes you reciprocation of your feelings. You owe yourself enough self-respect to leave them alone when they show you they do not reciprocate how you feel. And that's not even just like, there's a lot of people and a lot of men that feel like as a woman you kind of like owe them this like kindness and this patience. If someone doesn't like you, or if someone has a hard time, let me change this. If a man has a hard time reciprocating the feelings you have, you need to go find somebody who doesn't have a hard time. Because that's like, think about how many men are going to stay with girls they know don't like them, unless they're really desperate. I mean, like they can't get nobody else. If not, they're gonna go. And you have to love yourself enough, love yourself more than you love like a guy and stuff, to decide you're gonna go. I mean, and I'm not calling like Sarah was also like 17, 18 at the time. She was young, she was a teenager, and this man was a grown man. And I remember she just kept saying, you know, I don't know why he doesn't like me. And I'm like, I think you're going about this the wrong way. It's less of I don't know why he doesn't like me, and I don't want somebody who doesn't like me. That should be your mindset when people don't like you, is instead of feeling like, oh, you have to be nice and patient and kind and sweet and understanding, is if someone does not seem to reciprocate your like efforts, your affection, get away from them. Like, I'm sitting here like, why would you want to keep dating a guy that doesn't like you? The other thing about this guy, which is this is a common theme in between two of my very close friends, is she wanted to wait till marriage. And this guy he had a long track history of not doing that. Like, he would sleep with girls within the like first week or two of knowing them. And immediately when she told me that, I was like, are you dumb? I was like, are you stupid? So why would he change that with you? Because you're so swell and amazing? Oh, well, he told me he would. He'll tell you anything if it means it's gonna get to what he wants faster. He'll tell you anything. There are dudes who will tell you that they love you and they could not care less about you just to get what they want from you. And I was like, okay, he's not gonna change. He's probably gonna he's gonna play this game for a few months until it actually clicks that you're actually serious about your standards. Then he's gonna bounce, unless he's actually serious, which is so rare. Normally, men that like, there would have to be a complete 180 in his like personality and morals for him to actually change the type of behavior he has. There are men who will not give girls that chance. If you spend your whole life being an HOE and you turn around and say, actually, I think I'm gonna wait till marriage, even if you're serious, there's men who will say you know you're not, like you don't have the right to do that. So why are we giving men who didn't even ask for the chance to change? He doesn't even care. He's not going to change. He just said he'd do that because he figured if he was nice enough and sweet enough, you'd feel safe enough with him to give it up sooner. It's a very flawed like logic, but it is the thing where they feel like if they just lie for long enough, you'll change your mind. And there are girls who will. I mean, it happens because when you feel safe around somebody, you think, okay, he like has my back, I'll be okay. But most times they don't. But yeah, I just think there's a difference between being like an understanding girl, like someone who's hey, yeah, like you're having a hard time, versus being stupid. Like, there's a difference between being understanding and being very dumb, very stupid, very like, you're like causing self-harm by being too nice and accommodating and understanding. Because think about it like this. A lot of the stuff you sit there and you ponder on if you should, let slide, swap the roles. If the man was in your shoes, would he let that slide? Probably not. If you came to a man right now and said, I have 6 kids, he would probably never talk to you again. I'm looking like, no, and nor should you want to be dating someone that has 6 kids. Why don't you go date the father or the mother of your 6 kids? No one wants to date somebody that has 6 kids. That's just the reality of the world. There's people who will do it, but they're normally not the people you like want to be with for real. They're people that like are either, now there's people that are actually like worthwhile, who want to give people a chance, and then there's people who are desperate, who feel like they can only do so good, so they tend to settle. You don't want to be the thing that's settled for, you know what I mean?